Okay, moving on to question number 4. And so let's move on down here as well. I have gone back to chapter 13 and picked up one of our calculations spreadsheet there, where we're actually calculating the variance. So if you go back to chapter 13, you'll see how that works. But we'll work through the calculation here, and I'll explain what I'm doing. In any event, so we have a number of earnings possibilities here for each of the firm A consolidation and firm B consolidation with the company named General Meter. So the situation is General Meter is considering 2 mergers. The first with firm A is in its own volatile industry, so we're expecting that there wouldn't be a a negative correlation. There's no dampening effect, no portfolio effect, or at least a reduced portfolio effect by investing in that firm. And the second is a merger with firm B, and it's in an industry that moves in the opposite direction and tends to level out the performance due to the negative correlation between them. And so we're going to do 2 calculations, one for A and one for B, using these numbers. So the question asks us to calculate the mean, the standard deviation, and the coefficient of variation for both of these investments. So for A, we're going to start with the probabilities of 0.2, 0.5, and 0.3, and then we can put the earnings in, and we'll just use the values that they've given us because it tells us to enter the answers in millions of dollars. So these are in millions of dollars. So we're just going to use the rounded number. Now, the mean, the average, is 40, and so you can see that the 40 is here. And then the next thing is to calculate the deviation. So take the expected cash flow of 20 for that state of nature, and subtract the 40, gives us a negative 20 deviation. 30 minus 40 is negative 10. 70 minus 40 is 30. And then we square the deviation, and then we calculate the expected deviation. So here we're calculating the probability times the deviation amount. And so we add them all up, and that gives us the variance. And then, of course, the standard deviation is the square root of the variance. And then we calculate the coefficient of variation, which is the standard deviation in blue, the standard deviation divided by the mean or the expected return in red, and that gives us the coefficient of variation of 0.5. Now B, we're going to expect B to have a lower coefficient of variation, a lower standard deviation per unit of expected return. So again, we're going to put in the probabilities. So these probabilities over here, 0.35, 0.3, and 0.35. And the cash flows are given as the expected earnings or possible earnings in millions, so 10, 20, and 30. So we have a mean of 20 in that case, and working out the same variance calculation, we end up with a variance of 70, a standard deviation of 8.3666, giving us a coefficient of variation of 0.41833. So then we can scroll up here a little bit, and it just asks us to fill in the table. So the mean for A is 40, and the mean for B is 20. The standard deviation for A is 20, and the standard deviation for B is 8.3666. And the coefficient of variation for A is 0.5 and 0.41833 for B. And then we can check to see whether the calculations are correct. And they are, except for the 4.18333. So we probably have to round that a little bit. So let's take that down to, it says to 2 decimal places. Let's take off the 33, and we'll just put in 0.42 and see if that's happy. It's not happy. Okay, so that and that. We're taking the right standard deviation, and we're dividing it by, okay, I think we The problem might be in the standard deviation that we didn't round it. So let's try a rounded version of this. So I'm going to take 8.37 and divide it by 20 and see. It's pretty much the same number, 4.4185. Okay. Well, the only other thing I can think of is if they always round down. So let's try 0.41. Didn't like 0.41 either. This is a bit of a puzzle. Let's try that, 4185. See if that makes them happier. Didn't make them happier. This is a puzzle. We got the right mean and the right standard deviation, but the ratio between them doesn't appear to be correct. Okay. That is a puzzle. I think that's probably wrong, but it's just, I don't know, let's give it a shot. Didn't like 40 either. Okay, make sure everything's out of there. Coefficient coefficient of variation to 3 decimal places. I guess it's good to read the question. So this is going to be 0.418. Or 0.419, we're not sure. Didn't like that. Okay. I'm not sure if we've tried 0.419 yet. There we go. Huh. Well, that is the rounded version, because this one doesn't round to 0.419. So the rounded version takes the 8.36 and rounds it to 8.37 and divides that by 20 and then rounds it to 3 decimal places. So I guess you have a template for how to get that one. And that's all there is to it. So that is the end of question number 4. And we're done the lab for chapter 20.